Hello and welcome back to the Bronx Journal. I'm your guest host, Marcos Cabrera. I'm here with Associate Professor Dr. Sandra Levey. Last spring, you conducted a little campaign, sort of, with graduate students outside of the campus. Give us more on that. That was pretty interesting.
Well, I'm collaborating with two other professionals because this problem is a problem of hearing. So I'm working with Dr. Brian Fleegor at Harvard University and Tanya Levey at York College, who's a sociologist. Brian is an audiologist, sociologist, and I'm, as I said, a speech-language pathologist and linguist. Because it's a hearing problem, it's a social problem, and it's a problem that affects language. So we, Dr. Fleegor and I actually started this study, and what we did is we stood on the campus. We had a device for measuring the noise level from people's iPods or any portable music player they had. And we asked them, can we listen to your iPod? And we measured the iPod output of 202 Lehman College students. And we found that the majority of them, well over 50%, are listening at dangerous levels. They're listening too loud, too long. And so what we did is we counseled them on safe listening. They were amazed, amazed.
So what did you teach? What did you guys teach them? What did you tell them? You gave them tips on how to protect their hearing. What did you guys do?
We first of all we explained about the dangers. We scared them. And then we told them how they could fix it. And we gave them a measurement. We showed them how they could tell it was too loud. And we let them adjust their iPod down. Now here's the problem. People are going to amp the iPod, they're going to amp the sound. Right. If they're in an environment that's noisy, for example, on the subway, so one of the things that people have to remember is that they have to be safe at all times, even when there's ambient surrounding noise. One of the things you can do is you can boost the bass, and the bass will give you the sense that it's louder while it's not really louder. But the main thing to do is to just keep remembering the 80-90 rule. 80 decibels, 80% of the possible output from your iPod, no longer than 90 minutes.
Now, the manufacturers, are they being held responsible? What are they doing to help the cause?
Well, Apple has issued a patch a while ago that would allow a parent or a user to limit the output. But without education going along with that as to why and how, why you're doing it and how to do it, and what are dangerous situations. And then you've got your other dangerous situations, such as going to rock concerts and playing video games. Another interesting study that was done found that some children's toys are actually, about half of children's toys that were studied by this group are at 115 decibels, the output, the sound. And one group studied one squeak toy, that's a baby squeak toy, was putting out 135 decibels. Again, bringing you back to conversation is about 60 and safe. So we have a lot to do to educate, not just the iPod people, but toy manufacturers, but for everyone to become conscious of what noise is and the negative effects of too much noise. This will do a great deal to put pressure on companies and.
Right, and since we just mentioned toy manufacturers as well, what about listening to music without headphones on, say at home or on the car? Do you get a big deal of people suffering from hearing loss due to that?
Yes, yes. There have been studies that done that said that children actually who are sitting and listening to music very loud for a very long time will suffer. And how do you know whether you're actually suffering from too much sound? Well, after listening, if you feel like you have cotton in your ears and things are kind of muffled, or you hear kind of a ringing in your ears, and I mentioned the tinnitus or tinnitus before, you hear that kind of ringing in your ears, then you know that you've been listening too loud.
Also, when your neighbors complain, you
exactly.
know you're listening.
Exactly. That's another good. That's another good way.
Now, you mentioned Brian Fleegor, an assistant. You work together. You work along with him.
We're working together. Yes.
And I read about this program, Turn to the Left. Can you tell us more about that?
Turn to the Left was started by a group of audiologists. Brian was one of them, Dr. Grimes was another. And Turn to the Left just means turn it down.
Right.
Turn it down. It's a great campaign. And I think I gave you one of the, someone who's been working with noise-induced hearing loss is a musician. And his father was, Isaiah Jackson, was diagnosed with noise-induced hearing loss from his exposure to loud music. And he wrote a rap song. Do you have
Yes,
it?
he did, and you gave it to me. Now, I'm not a rapper, but I'll spit it for the audience.
Go for it.
It goes like this: It ain't no fun when you're 20 years old, but your ears are 81. Imagine what it's like to be hearing this track, but the words are muffled and the beat is whack. Now that kind of goes with with the message you guys are bringing out.
Exactly.
Very
Exactly.
creative. I
Exactly.
like that.
Yeah.
And what exactly can you tell us more about? What is it that Turn to the Left is doing? Are you guys educating people online, or are people?
There's a lot online for educating people. But we really have to have programs in schools. Go into schools, professionals going into schools, starting at the elementary school level, starting at the nursery school level. If we found a squeak toy is 130, if they found a squeak toy is 135 decibels, it's probably not the only toy that's putting out dangerous sound. And remember, this toxic sound, if it's sustained over a long period of time, this is going to kill those sensory cells that are necessary for transmitting sound to the brain and making sense of the language you hear.
Wow. Any sites, any websites where people can find out more about this besides Turn to the Left?
Yeah, the American Speech Language Hearing Association. So if people go to ASHA, ASHA.org, and do noise-induced hearing loss, you'll find a lot of information. The National Institutes of Health, the NIH has a site, and they're doing a tremendous amount on noise-induced hearing loss. And Listen to Your Buds. Listen to Your Buds is a great website. Listen to Your Buds has posters you can download, bookmarks. It has great videos for kids with little dancing characters illustrating safe listening. So there are a number of very good websites showing that there's more consciousness and more people are trying to do more to protect our hearing and our children's hearing.
Right, and besides Listen to Your Buds, which I have here, you gave me a list of other websites that'll probably be helpful. childrenshospital.org/MHP, which is run by your colleagues.
Dr. Flagler, yes, yes. Well, he's also chief audiologist at Children's Hospital in Boston.
Wow.
Yeah.
Impressive. Again, turntotheleft.org. And Dangerous Decibels.
Dangerous Decibels, yes, dangerousdecibels.org. The one I think I want to recommend to parents, though, is Listen to Your Buds. That's very, very parent-child friendly.
Now, do you give people on the street advice? Do you ever catch someone blasting their music or anyone listening a little too loud?
Well, that's a sensitive issue. I got interested in doing work in this area because I ride the subway. And it's a sensitive issue to tell someone who's a complete stranger, you're listening too loud. But I'm torn. I want to, but I know that it's not necessarily the appropriate thing to do. So one of the things we were talking about doing was distributing information at subway exits, which is kind of interesting because we're moving our study to Union Square. And we're going to be taking our device to measure people's output and measuring people and counseling them, giving them prevention information to really a very large group of people in Union Square.
Wow, that's amazing.
It's
awesome.
exciting.
Doctor, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for educating the public. So stay tuned. We'll be back with the Bronx Journal.